As you look at example 3, the question feels very similar to example 2. Once again, the author is asking us about parallel, perpendicular, and either. This time, however, instead of giving us 2 points on each one of the lines, the author has given us an equation of each one of these lines. So on example 3 on the board here, I wrote down the 2 equations. I simply wrote them next door to each other instead of vertically as I have them on the handout. So let's check out that first equation, y equals negative 1/3 x plus 7. Now, notice something special about that equation. That equation is written in slope-intercept form. Remember that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So what that means is I can read off the slope of this equation. M is going to be the number in front of the x. The number in front of the x this time is negative 1/3. So the slope of my first line is negative 1/3. Now that I know that, then, I can find the slope of my second line and determine which of the worlds we're in, parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Unfortunately, my second line isn't written in terms of slope-intercept form. So what I need to do then is take this equation as given and figure out how to rewrite this equation in slope-intercept form. Well, slope-intercept form had y alone on the left-hand side. So that's exactly what we want to do. In order to get this into slope-intercept form, we need to solve for y. Lots of different ways that we can do that. One thing that we can do is to start by subtracting x from both sides. If we subtract x from both sides, that gets that y a little more alone than it is right now. So we have negative 3y is equal to negative x plus 8. Now that y, not totally alone yet. So in order to get that y more alone, I do need to divide by negative 3. Now you have to be kind of careful on this next step because the entire right-hand side needs to be divided by negative 3. Another way of saying that is that both terms on the right-hand side need to be divided by that negative 3. So when you're doing this kind of division, my suggestion, go ahead and write the fact that you're dividing by negative 3 under each and every one of those terms. And then think about what's going to be happening along the way. So here the negative 3's cancel, we get the y, and then we have negative x divided by negative 3. Well, remember negative x really means negative 1x. And what I'm going to do is, again, think about it in terms of slope-intercept form. So I want a number in front of that x. So I'm going to take the negative 1 and the negative 3, think about them, and then think about the x as a separate piece. So negative 1 divided by negative 3, negative divided by negative is going to be a positive. So we have positive 1/3, and then I'm going to put the x next door simply to make it look like slope-intercept form. And then 8 divided by negative 3, in this case a positive divided by a negative is going to be a negative, and 8 divided by 3, I can't simplify, so it's simply going to be 8/3. So now, as I look at my second line, the slope of my second line is going to be 1/3. So now that I have the slope of my second line, I can answer the question that was requested. Are these two lines parallel? No, because the slopes aren't equal. Are these two lines perpendicular? No. Once again, perpendicular has to have both things. It has to have the negative, which we do. We do have the sign change going from M1 to M2, but we also have to have that idea of reciprocal. We don't have the reciprocal going from M1 to M2, so it's not going to be perpendicular. So the only option at this point is to say it's neither parallel nor perpendicular. At this point, we are done with lecture 27, so you're ready to go ahead and work on worksheet 27, and then go to the MyLab Math System and work on homework 27 as well.